Hello for the 12th Sunday in Ordinary Time, using the two readings Jeremiah 20:10 to 13, and Matthew 10, verses 20 to 33. And it has to be about being afraid. Jesus tells us, do not be afraid. He says, do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Are you afraid? I've asked myself, am I afraid? When I asked myself, am I afraid? I thought back when I was two times. When I was a little kid, my dad took a couple of us to the shoe store, and I was really small. And my other brothers and sisters were getting shoes, and I wandered off. And it was downtown Newport, Kentucky, at a store called Eilerman's. And somehow I wandered out of that store onto the streets of Newport and found myself lost, totally afraid. Where did they all go? They're gone. I start crying, I remember. And I don't seem like forever. But sooner or later, they came running out of the store and found me out there on the sidewalk or going for the street in Newport. Never forget that. I don't know all of the details, but I just never forget that trauma or that fear. They're all gone. And then one other time, after I became a priest, I was a 16th owner of a cabin up in Canada on Lake Pagawong. And I took my family up one week for just the week on the water in Canada. And my nephew and I slept out in this little house called the Wee House. And all the other family members, they slept in the main house and then in the chapel. And I remember one night in the middle of the night, I got up from the wee house, tiptoed so I wouldn't wake up Matt. And I went outside and it was absolutely pitch black. And I walked a few steps and started to think, where am I? And I thought over the hill was the water. I think that big house is over here. I was totally confused and I was in pitch black and frightened because I didn't know where my left and right went or where I was going. That's when I was 27, 8 years old. Totally afraid. Jesus said, don't be afraid. Do not be afraid of those who can kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Well, I really don't worry about anybody killing me on my body, but those two things I just remember vividly. I thought, well, what am I afraid of now? That I'm healthy now and I'm not going to be soon. Hmm. And one of these days, I'm going to find myself on the kitchen floor trying to get help, and 2 days later, they're going to find me. Mm. Meeting God face to face, what that's going to be like. You know, life here on planet Earth can't be too much longer. All these concerns, and I think, I'm not really afraid. Well, certainly not afraid of anybody killing me, and I'm not afraid of getting the coronavirus and dying that way, you know, on a ventilator. Uh, what am I afraid of? I don't know about you, but a lot of priests think I maybe should have gotten married. I think maybe I could have, should have had children and done it another way. And I don't, what, and I became a priest. I should have become a bishop. Well, I didn't get married and I never became a bishop. That's not too fearful, but you sort of think of looking back on your life. Jesus says, don't be afraid. Sometimes I say, well, I could have done more. Bad question. You always can do more. I could have been a better priest. Bad question. You certainly could have been a better priest. I could be holier. Or what is holiness? So I could be holier. I think that's another bad question. But sometimes I thought, oh, what am I afraid of? Well, I think of two things. Another childhood thing, and I always use this to try to explain death. I think everybody's sort of afraid of death, death. When I was a little kid, I was afraid to go on the roller coaster in Coney Island. Now it's called Kings Island, Cincinnati. On the roller coaster, the biggest one is called Shooting Star, and the smaller but big was called the Wildcat. And I was, as a little kid, scared to death. But one day I got on that darn thing, and my brothers and sisters talked me into it. And once I got on, you left the porter down there. You got into a clicking track that took you all the way up to the first biggest dip, the Shooting Star. And it kept on going up, and I thought, oh my God, I can't get off. I'm going to die. And you get to the very top, and then you go over and down. And your breath's taken away, your fear is in totality, you think it's the end, and then you whip around and jump around and you start to laugh and you start to have fun, and and it takes about 2 or 3 minutes, and you finally get back laughing and smiling. God, I'm glad I did that. That was fun. Let's go again. I sort of think death's like that. And I think there's a lot of fear of death like that. But it's true. You go through it. If you're going to only go through death once, and many of these people are saying that when they sort of did or partially did, and they came back, and he says, no big deal, I'm not afraid anymore. So that's sort of one thing. But um, another thing, which I don't remember, but I knew happened. I think as we continue to progress, let's think of our first progression, and that is our birthday. Coming through the birth canal of our mother, me, March 25th, 1939. But I don't remember that. But I bet that was a bloody mess. I bet you my mother remembered that. In all the pains and problems with life, there's a lot of things that are not easy. And there are a lot of things that are fearful. But Jesus said, do not be afraid. So I think back on birth, which I don't remember. I think of back in birth, and I came out of my mother's inside, the womb of my mother, and I came into this world that I have learned to love and enjoy, and thank God for living and being part of it. And if that's true with birth, I think death is a rebirth. You go from this life to death in this life to a rebirth to a new life. So I really don't worry about there is not an everlasting life, or we don't continue. But I don't know how it happens. Like the roller coaster. Maybe I'd rather just go out of it like just my birthday. But at any rate, Jesus says, trust me. Do not be afraid. Put your trust in Jesus. And you get fear starts to disappear or lessen. And if we can do that really a lot, we have less fear. What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of God? Are you afraid of God and going dying? Are you afraid of getting a job? But what are you afraid of? Jesus says, trust me, listen to me, and it'll be okay. In fact, not only just okay, I think it'll be wonderful. I think it is more than we could ever expect. Well, in the meantime, don't worry, especially today. Have a good day.